Thank you all for your patience. I think we're hopefully, it says live, but we might be okay. Let's give Stacy.
We are live. I am so sorry, you guys. I don't know what happened. I just had to recopy the link and it took it the second time. So we're good.
It's like we're missing at least one commissioner.
Let me see. I know Jeanette is out.
Okay, Janelle.
I'm just going in. Or Janelle, yes, I'm sorry. I'm going
and it looks like I see their iPad joining us. That might be Turner Mike.
Thank you all for your patience. I greatly appreciate it. I am so sorry about that.
Is the iPad 12623 Commissioner Turner Mike?
That's me.
Okay, great, thank you. So we're good to go, Stace?
We are. Tom, I think we're ready if you want to go ahead and get started.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Sorry for the little bit delay for those on the outside that were at least previously on the call. I don't see maybe that Art has joined us. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining us. This is the April 28th Planning Commission meeting for the City of Citrus Heights. May I have the flag salute? Paul Beknofsky, would you please, Commissioner Beknofsky, would you please lead us in the pledge?
It'd be my pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please read the next item?
We roll call. Commissioner Engel is absent this evening. Commissioner Magnavowski.
Here.
Commissioner Nishimura.
Here.
Commissioner Turner Mike.
Here.
Commissioner Van Duker.
Here.
Vice Chair Flowers.
Present.
Chair Sheeler.
I am here.
Thank you.
Please, the next item, please.
Presentation. Item 3A, resolution for recognition of former planning commissioners.
We'll all get used to all this someday. Mr. Duncan, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hey, thank you for having me. This is great. I'm sorry I don't have a picture, but I don't know why. Normally it's there, but like I say, you don't like my ugly puss anyway, so.
That's not true, Jack.
Well,
Anyway.
Mr. Duncan, Jack, we would like to honor you this evening for serving on the Planning Commission of Citrus Heights. So I have a proclamation to read to you. Whereas Jack Duncan has been a member of the Planning Commission for the City of Citrus Heights from January 8th, 2015 to December 31st of 2020. And whereas Jack Duncan has enthusiastically contributed to the efforts of the Planning Commission on numerous projects throughout the city. And whereas Jack Duncan has attended and participated in regular and sometimes lengthy meetings, work sessions, and special meetings to consider day-to-day and further planning issues and proposals. And whereas Jack Duncan will be remembered for his ability to ask good questions and always treat everyone in a fair and respectful manner. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Planning Commission of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby commend Jack Duncan for his contributions, dedication, and meritorious service to the community, and wishes him the very best in all his future endeavors. Thank you very much, Jack, for all that you've done for Citrus Heights.
Thank you. Can I say a few words?
You certainly can.
It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure being on the Planning Commission. When the city first became a city, why I was able to be on the Planning Commission. That was in '79, I think. And I served for 9 years, then I was off for a few years, and then I got back on again for another 5. So I think I got 14 years in planning commission, and it's been a great experience. I look back on different projects that we worked on, and I think, man, this is great for the city, great for the public, and there's been some good ones and there's been some bad ones, but it's been super. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I had to get off last year because my wife's illness, and then of course the COVID caused all the problems that it did. But I want to commend the city staff. They do a great job. I mean, they just, our work was easy with them. And of course, with all the other planners that I've worked with through the years, we got along real good, did a lot for the city and the community. So I want to thank you for this proclamation, and thanks for everything, and keep up the good work. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jack, very much, and congratulations.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
And Mr. Lagomasino, you also have a proclamation this evening.
Thank you.
And so, as you want to hear all the whereases, Michael?
Not really. I have the proclamation or the resolution. I'm sorry.
Well, as most everyone knows on this call, Michael has not only served on the planning commission, but certainly has served in the police department, has served on a number of boards and committees and whatever else. He has been recognized as the Volunteer of the Year for Citrus Heights, and he has really put forth just a monumental effort in helping Citrus Heights be what it is. And certainly we want to thank him tonight for his efforts on the planning commission, but certainly obviously as he's always been recognized for all the efforts he's done in a much broader sense. So Michael, thank you very much for all that you've done for Citrus Heights, and especially what you've done for us on the planning commission.
Thank you. I would like to thank the planning staff, Colleen, Tracy, I'm sorry, not Tracy, Casey, Stacy for her work after Karen Ramsey left, Colleen, Eric, and Allison. You guys have always been able to answer my questions. Anytime I've had questions, you've been able to, like I said, answer them. May have taken you a little while, but we always got an answer. And I just can't thank you enough for the 7.5 years that I served on it. I did serve 4 years, and then I was off for about 6 months, and then Jeff Sloy reappointed me to fill in Christie's DeSille unexpired or her term when she had to leave. So like I said, I really enjoyed the 7.5 years I was there. For the planning commissioners that are now on it, I know some of you have been there for a while, but for the new ones, I encourage you, anytime you have a question, reach out to the planners. They are there to help you. If you aren't sure about something, don't wait for the meeting. Give them a call, please, because that saves a lot of time. And if you have not been able to attend the League of California Cities Planning Commissioners Conference, try to set aside some time for one of them, whether they're in Southern California or Northern California. It's great to get together with other planning commissioners in the city or in the state. And this, we have it so that after listening to tales from other planning commissioners in other areas of the city, I know Tom's listened to some of them. I have too, particularly the first one that I attended in Pasadena. I'll never forget a couple of them that came up and they said, yeah, the planning department just says, here, you figure out what the conditions are and everything else, where here they've already done it for you. So I can't, like you said, it's been a lot of fun. And I really appreciate the help, not just at the planning department, the other planning commissioners over the years. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Mike, and thank you again.
Chair Sheeler, if I
Yeah.
may,
You may.
this is Colleen McDuffie, and Jack and Michael, I just wanted to quickly say thank you on behalf of staff because you were great. You were both great commissioners, made our jobs easier, and were just a pleasure to work with for all these years. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Colleen.
Colleen.
Thank you.
Okay, if we're done with all that backslapping, next item, please.
Consent calendar, approval of minutes for March 24th, 2021.
Any of the commissioners have any comments or changes to the minutes from last meeting? I see no one raising their hand. Anybody would like to have a motion to accept?
I move to accept the minutes of March 24, 2021.
I will second. This is Mike Nishimura.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Chair Flowers,
Aye.
Commissioner Engel is absent. Commissioner Nishimura,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner Mike,
Aye.
Commissioner Magnavowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Duker,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sheeler.
Chair Sheeler. Aye.
Thank you, Chair Sheeler. I'll get it down one of these days. Motion passes, minutes approved.
At least I wasn't called Tim anyway.
That is true. Don't do that to me. You did that last time and I did it.
Next item, please.
Public comment. Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the audience may address the commission on any item within the jurisdiction of the commission or on any agenda item. Those wishing to speak on non-agenda items will be called upon at the beginning of the meeting. Those wishing to speak for or against an agenda item will be called upon after the presentation by the City Planning Department and the applicant for that agenda item.
We have none in the inbox.
All right. Is there anyone that is on here that would like to speak on any items not on the agenda? Very well, thank you. Next item, please.
Public hearing, item 6A, Trubcheck Oaks parcel map for 8207 Oak Avenue. The proposal would involve splitting the existing parcel into two parcels, 0.74 and 1.74 gross acres, 0.06 and 1.53 net acres respectively. The proposed parcel map will include conceptual building sites and access, but no designs have been proposed in conjunction with the map. The proposal has been designed to avoid impacts to sensitive areas associated with the creek, and all structures maintain a creek setback of approximately 45 feet. Project planner Eric Singer.
Thank you, Stacy. Can everybody hear me okay? Great. So as she mentioned, we're going to be discussing the Trubcheck Oaks parcel map proposal located at 8207 Oak Avenue. The brief overview of the proposal is, again, to create two parcels from an existing parcel of almost 2.5 acres. This is a proposal for a division of land only at this time. No construction has been proposed currently. The proposal meets all of the requirements of the RD2 zoning district. And as Stacy mentioned, there is a tributary of Cripple Creek that runs along the east side of the property. So this is the project site in question. Factoring in, taking out any area for public right-of-way frontage improvements, things of that nature, you are left with a total site acreage, net acreage of 1.95. It's currently completely vacant, comprised mostly of undeveloped oak woodland habitat, located on the north side of Oak Avenue, east of Fair Oaks Boulevard. The tributary that runs along the eastern portion of the site also it conveys drainage from upstream off-site watersheds to a pipe system that's immediately north of the subject property. And in preparation for this hearing, a biological resources report, a drainage report, and an arborist report were conducted for the site, determining that there are no unusual circumstances and all sensitive areas are going to be avoided with the proposed, any potential proposed building envelopes. So this is the proposed division. The parcel map that was proposed did have a lot of, it was a bit confusing at first, so I tried to make it a little bit clearer in terms of actually what the division is going to look like. So as you can tell, 2 parcels. Parcel 2 has a fairly significant portion of it taken away by the creekside setback that is required. As Stacy mentioned, the net size of the 2 new parcels are going to be 0.6 and 1.35 acres respectively. The proposed map, as you see it, does include conceptual building sites and access points, but again, no official designs have been proposed in conjunction with this map. The proposal has been designed to avoid any impacts to the sensitive areas that are associated with the creek. All structures would be maintaining that minimum creek setback of approximately 45 feet. So in terms of tree removal or protection of remaining trees, the site is home to a total of 94 trees total per the arborist report. That report identified all of the trees for removal currently are due to poor health and would therefore not be subject to requiring a tree permit. However, staff did an analysis of where the proposed building footprints and access easements, or not easements, excuse me, access points would occur, access drives. Based on that analysis, we determined that 15 additional protected trees would likely be removed, and that is the basis for requiring a tree permit and any subsequent mitigation for the loss of those trees. As a condition of approval of the project, we're requiring that the applicant evaluate any potential impacts to the potential trees that are proposed to remain on the site, and also to provide measures to lessen any disruption to the trees during construction activities that are occurring within the drip line of any of the remaining trees. Additionally, a final tree impact assessment will be required based on the final proposed construction documents, both for public improvements as well as any subsequent building permits. And conditions have been included to ensure the survival of the remaining trees on site. Many of the tree protection measures, as well as measures to avoid development in the sensitive creekside habitat, are also included in the applicant's project description. So the applicant is fully aware and understands that these are conditions that will need to be met throughout the course of the project. So again, looking at the analysis under CEQA, the project is considered a minor land division pursuant to section 15315. Some of that criteria that it has to meet: it is in an urbanized setting, it does not have a slope greater than 20%, not been part of another subdivision within the last 2 years, and the project is not requesting any kind of a rezoning or a variance. Ultimately, the project would not be creating any significant effect on the environment. And again, the applicant has proposed all of the measures that are mentioned within the conditions of approval are also mentioned within the applicant's project description. So in conclusion, we find that the project does qualify as exempt from CEQA, and we recommend that the commission accept the findings in the staff report and approve the project as conditioned. These are our recommended motions, and I am available to answer any questions you may have on the project. Thank you very much.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Eric?
I have a question. As far as the setbacks go, is a bridge considered a structure? I mean, that northeast corner seems like an ideal place to put an ADU. And, you know, would they be able to access it from the main house?
So a bridge is considered a structure. There are a number of hoops, so to speak, that they would have to jump through to create a bridge over this creek. Just to name a couple, they would have to consult with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers as well as the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife for any development occurring within the creek. Not to mention that our creekside setback ordinance is very prohibitive and would likely prevent the development of any type of bridge within that creek area, that creek habitat. So it may be a null point from the get-go.
Okay. Now, would they have access from the eastern end if they were to put an ADU back there?
That would be a matter of the property owner establishing some type of a private access easement with the adjacent property. And again, that would be an entirely private matter between the two private property owners.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Tom, I do have a few questions as well. Thank you for the presentation, Eric. Is there usually typical with like creeks, is there an easement or any kind of maintenance cleaning agreements that the owner would have to sign once splitting and once like assuming control of the creek, just to make sure that the 100-year floods and whatever like are taken care of, so the flow is moving properly, things like that?
I believe so. I'm taking a look at the conditions of approval for the project here. Let's see.
You can ask this, someone from the engineering department might be able to answer this.
I was going to say, yeah, this might have been included as one of engineering standard conditions of approval. Is there someone from engineering that is available to speak to this?
Good evening. This is Ardalyn Flores, one of the associate civil engineers. Basically, within the creek bank, the city does maintain, as in just keeping the flow clear, but any debris that is within the bank is kind of placed to the top of the creek bank for the property owner to maintain. So I guess parcel 2 would be the one maintaining this area of the creek.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, I also apologize because I typically ask questions via email beforehand, but this was like, just thought about it now. The second question is, why was there a tree permit, or why was there an arborist report? Is there a plan to remove the trees before the split actually takes place?
There is not currently based on the arborist report that was submitted, they did mention that protected trees on site were proposed for removal. However, that arborist report identified that all of the trees proposed for removal are in poor health and would not require a tree permit. It is incumbent upon staff anytime we receive an application that shows potential development. So in this case, future potential building footprints, we are required to do an analysis of the impacts to the trees on site. And in this case, if we identify any trees that are protected and that would require removal, then to do an analysis of what the mitigation would be for those trees after that removal. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Yeah, thank you for the explanation, Eric.
Of course.
Any other questions by commissioners? Seeing none. Eric, would you put up the motions again, please?
Of course.
A motion?
I move to find the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act under Class 15, Minor Land Division. And this is Magnowski.
Commissioner Van Duker seconds.
Can Chair Sheeler, I typically we would need to open the public hearing first. I don't have any.
I apologize. You are correct. We will open a public hearing on this issue. Do I have anyone that wants to speak on this issue?
And we do not. So sorry about that formality.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Flowers,
Aye.
Commissioner Engel is absent. Commissioner Nishimura,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner Mike,
Aye.
Commissioner Magnavowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Duker,
Aye.
Chair Sheeler.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Do I have a motion on motion 2?
Yep. I move to approve the tentative parcel map to allow for this division of a 2.45 acre parcel located at 8207 Oak Avenue into 2 parcels, subject to the findings and the conditions of approval contained in the staff report.
I second. Turner Mike.
Thank you. Would you call the roll, please?
Vice Chair Flowers,
Aye.
Commissioner Engel is absent. Commissioner Nishimura,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner Mike,
Aye.
Commissioner Magnavowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Duker,
Aye.
Chair Sheeler.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Next item, please.
Regular calendar, item 7A, capital improvement program. Staff recommends that Planning Commission find that the City of Citrus Heights Capital Improvement Program 2021 to 2022 through 2025 to 2026 conforms with the general plan.
Thank you, Chair and Stacy. I wanted to introduce tonight Regina Kay from the General Services Department. She's one of our operations managers. She is very well versed in our capital improvement program, and she'll give you a quick overview. But what we're asking you to do is find that it's consistent with the general plan. So with that, I'll turn it over to Regina.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Again, good evening, Chair and Planning Commissioners. Regina Kay, Operations Manager in the General Services Department. Hopefully, I believe I've presented to several of you in the past. If not, pleasure to meet you. So the CIP, it's a 5-year tool. State law requires that the city prepare a capital improvement program. It covers a 5-year horizon. It programs funds for 2 fiscal years, which is consistent with our new 2-year budget model that we incorporated 2 years ago. And again, council just recently approved for the next 2 fiscal years. The CIP does not allocate funds. However, it is used again as a planning tool, utilizing revenue projections as well as outlining secured funding where applicable, such as grants or funds that have already been budgeted by our council. Prior to inclusion in the CIP, projects are reviewed for consistency with the city's general plan. And so something I wanted to do a little different this year, instead of just going through the projects, I wanted to also provide a nexus and show where our projects connect to general plan goals and policies. So I'm going to go over just the top 10 goals and policies as enlightened by Casey. So goal 3, maintain safe and high quality neighborhoods. Policy 3.5, plan, design, and construct neighborhood streets to encourage walking and bicycling while discouraging high vehicle speeds and volumes consistent with policy 29.1. Goal 9, revitalize and maintain corridors as economically viable and physically attractive. Goal 13, increase activity in the Sunrise Marketplace through transportation investments that enhance the convenience and safety of driving, riding transit, bicycling, and walking to and from and within the district. Goal 19, establish and maintain attractive streetscapes along the city's major roadways. Goal 29, plan, design, construct, and manage a complete streets transportation network that accommodates the needs of all mobility types, users, and ability levels. Policy 29.4, support safe, complete, and well-connected neighborhood, street, bicycle, and pedestrian access and connections that balance circulation needs with the neighborhood context. Goal 30, promote attractive and well-maintained roadways and sidewalks. Goal 32, use advanced technologies to enhance and improve safety and mobility. And goal 38, establish a system of creek side trails, passive open space, and parks for public use. So I'm going to go briefly over several of the projects that we have that are programmed with funding over the next 2 years, and also provide the connection between which goals, general plan goals and policies that these projects support. So the first one is our annual accessibility drainage improvements project. This project that we construct annually, we do it in conjunction with and in preparation for our street resurfacing projects, because concrete work and storm drain improvements are not weather dependent like pavement operations are. It allows for greater flexibility. So we're able to do these projects separate and then have those improvements constructed, waiting to come back onto those streets to do our pavement restoration. So again, it focuses on constructing curb access ramps, minor sidewalk repairs, ADA accommodations, and relocating conflicting drain inlets, again, in preparation for subsequent planned resurfacing work. The funding for this project is typically derived from community development block grants and stormwater utility funds, although we sometimes augment with other transportation funds such as SB1 or Sacramento Transportation Authority bike ped funds as well. And this program or project supports general plan goals 3, 30, and policy 3.5. Our Arcade Cripple Creek Trail project, this is also previously known as the Electric Greenway project. This project will construct 2.9 miles of multi-use trail between Sunrise Boulevard and Walktail Way, primarily utilizing existing SMUD electric corridor easement. The project will provide connection to 7 parks, several schools, and connection to the Sunrise Marketplace in the business district. We'll provide funding is provided from an ATP or Active Transportation Program grant and matching funds with additional augmenting funds, because the match supports just for the eligible work of the ATP, and anything that is not eligible or goes above and beyond the grant amount, we have to augment. So those funds are coming from local transportation, stormwater utility, and a per capita state grant. And this project supports general plan goals 38 and policy 29.4. And feel free to stop me if you have any questions as we go along. Our Auburn Boulevard Complete Streets Phase 2 is a project we're very proud of. I'm sure that you've seen in recent newspapers or press releases that we have secured all funding for this project in excess of $20 million with a recent grant award of $9 million. This project will construct joint trench, widen sidewalks, ADA compliant facilities, updated signalized intersections, including a new intersection at the gateway coming into Citrus Heights from Roseville, and storm drain, landscape, and lighting improvements and full road resurfacing. The segment of Phase 2 is from just north of Rush Park, goes to the north city limits and actually encroaches into City of Roseville and Placer County, in which we are working with them collaboratively on these improvements. Funding is derived from multiple secured grants through SACOG and CTC, which is the California Transportation Commission, with match and augmented funds from local transportation dollars, roadway impact funds, stormwater utility funds, and the city's capital improvement loan. This project supports general plan goals 9, 19, 29, 30, and 32, as well as policy 3.5. Our Greenback Lane Complete Streets project. This project will reconstruct efficient sidewalk sections and curb access ramps to improve and encourage safe mobility throughout the corridor. This project focuses in the section between the intersection of Sunrise Boulevard and the intersection of Fair Oaks Boulevard. We will also include signal communication infrastructure, storm drain improvements, and full road resurfacing. And the funding is derived from Sacramento Transportation Authority capital allocation, gas tax, SB1, which is a formula from gas tax, Measure A maintenance, which comes from the Sacramento Transportation Authority, our stormwater utility funds, roadway impact funds, and transit impact funds. And this project supports general plan goals 9, 19, 29, 30, and 32, and policy 3.5. Our Mariposa Safe Routes to School Phase 4. This project will actually begin construction this fiscal year, with the majority of it occurring during the summertime into next fiscal year. The project will construct improvements along Mariposa between Skycrest and Madison Avenue, including ADA improvements at the signalized intersection of Madison and Mariposa. Improvements will include sidewalk, curb, gutter, drainage, ADA, safety lighting, street resurfacing, and pavement striping to include bike lanes. The funding is derived from an ATP grant, that is the Active Transportation Program grant funds, with matching funds coming from Stormwater Utility and Measure A bike ped funds. Those funds also come from the Sacramento Transportation Authority. And this project supports general plan goals 3, 30, 32, and policies 3.5 and 29.4. And then our multimodal transportation safety program. This program is going to implement and construct appropriate countermeasures to address neighborhood safety concerns. This is a modern form of our neighborhood traffic management program. The MTSP utilizes industry standards for countermeasure applications, provides kind of a toolbox and program guidelines, not only for the community, but for staff to use, and uses advanced technology to provide for an interactive process for viewing and managing data that we capture from the field, data that we already have generated by service requests, complaints, and concerns from the public. So that program is funded through Measure A traffic funds with a portion of Red Flex funds as well. And it supports general plan goals 3 and 32 and policies 3.5 and 29.4, focusing on neighborhood streets. Our Old Auburn Complete Streets Phase 1. This project will provide for design, environmental, and right-of-way for nearly 2-mile stretch of the Old Auburn corridor from Gary Oak to TR Way. This is another $2.1 million grant that we recently secured through staff's very aggressive application process, not only through the state, but also through SACOG as well. This phase stems from, again, the thorough development of a conceptual plan that was done with a lot of community engagement and going to council and was adopted in 2020. The ultimate goal of the project is to provide safe and accessible corridor by constructing improvements for all users, again, consistent with council approval of the Old Auburn plan. This phase is funded by an ATP grant with matching funds derived from Measure A traffic safety. Again, this is not for construction, but this is for the design and right-of-way and environmental to prepare the project to compete for construction funding. And this project will support general plan goals 3, 9, 19, 29, 30, and 32, and policies 3.5 and 29.4. And our pavement restoration. This project provides for annual pavement resurfacing throughout the city, typically focusing on residential streets, utilizing our pavement condition index, which grades all of our streets from 1 to 100, 100 being the best, of course, 1 being the worst. Many of our streets falling far under 50 PCI. Funds may also support arterial repairs or projects, such as a cooperative project that we're doing with Sac County on some of our shared roadways over at Madison Avenue and Kenneth Avenue. Funding is derived from SB1, gas tax, and Measure A maintenance funds. And our annual program supports general plan goals 3 and 30. Our San Juan Complete Streets project. This project will provide for design, environmental, and right-of-way from Madison to Spicer, and then fund construction from Madison to Chestline. The project will transform the corridor into a complete streets network by providing enhanced mobility for all users, ADA, bike, transit facilities, a full road resurfacing, new lights, and traffic signal upgrades. This project is derived from SACOG State of Good Repair grant, where a majority, I shouldn't say a majority, a substantial amount of the project, I believe it was 40%, needed to focus on ADA accessibility and accommodations, but recognizing agencies' needs to also address pavement conditions. And so while a majority of the funds are coming from State of Good Repair, we have match and a substantial amount of augmentation coming from Measure A bike ped, traffic safety funds, SB1, Stormwater Utility, Transit Development Act bike ped funds as well. And we are still continuing to look for opportunities to apply and leverage these funds for additional grant dollars to be able to complete the entire segment. And this project supports general plan goals 3, 9, 19, 29, 30, and 32, as well as policies 3.5 and 29.4. Our various signalized intersection improvement project. This project will enhance safety and accessibility at various signalized intersections throughout the city, including at Sunrise Boulevard within the Sunrise Marketplace. The project will also install a barrier fence along 3 of the 4 approaches at the Greenback and Auburn intersection. This will help deter a lot of the unsafe pedestrian crossing through the medians rather than using the crosswalks. We're trying to push pedestrians to make sure that they're using the safe crosswalks to get to the transit stops. The funding is derived from a highway safety improvement grant with match and supporting funds coming from CDBG, Measure A, Stormwater Utility, or Transportation Development Act or TDA funds, as well as transit impact dollars. And this project supports general plan goals 13, 19, 29, and 32, as well as policies 3.5 and 29.4. And that's it. We'll entertain any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cave. Any questions from the commissioners? I have one question. The fencing, as probably the graphic just showed in the last slide, the fencing at Greenback and Auburn, was that slowed down because of COVID? I mean, I thought that project was going to move ahead more quickly.
The contract has been awarded. I believe it was back in November, December, but there was quite a lag time in ordering of the materials for the project. And so as I understand, the project will be starting shortly for construction. Again, the contractor's already been awarded. They already have their schedule ready to go, just waiting for the materials.
All right, thank you. If the commission would indulge me, I have a little comment that I'd like to make. I want to take a moment before, after discussing this, to acknowledge and thank all the city staff for the work that they do in preparing and managing all these projects. It takes input from virtually every department in the city to identify, write the grants, look at the requirements of the grant, engineer, permit, bid, inspect, and manage the funding for all these projects. I especially want to compliment the staff on the fact that, as I count them, 9 of the 21 CIP projects are funded with grants, which means the majority, if not all, the project funding is paid for by local, state, and or federal money. The projects are a benefit to everyone in the Citrus Heights, and on behalf of the Planning Commission, I would like to thank all the city staff for the work that they do on this and all the other things that they do.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
This is Macnowski. I move to find that the Citrus Heights Capital Improvement Program 2021-2022, all the way through 2025 through 2026, conforms with the general plan.
And I'll second that. Vice Chair Flowers.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Chair Flowers.
Aye.
Commissioner Engel is absent. Commissioner Nishimura.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner Mike.
Aye.
Commissioner Macnowski.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Duker.
Aye.
Chair Sheeler.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Mr. Chair, if we could interrupt briefly, it came to our attention that we inadvertently missed a motion for item 6A for the Trubchick Oaks parcel map for the tree permit. So if we could just briefly go back and briefly open the public hearing and then close the public hearing and take a motion on number 3, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Well, I believe we took a motion in a second, but as you rightfully pointed out, we had not done the public hearing. So we can do the motion again. That's fine.
Sorry, just the third motion there about the tree permit was not previously voted on. So that's the one we need to do.
Understood. Do I have a motion?
Chair, can we open the public hearing real quick? Sorry.
I'd like to open the public hearing.
We have no
One
comments.
commenting on this item?
No.
Thank you. We're closing the public hearing. Do I have a motion on motion 3?
I'd like to make a motion. This is Vice Chair Flowers to approve a tree permit to remove 15 protected trees on the site based on the findings and conditions contained in the staff report.
I second. Turner Mike.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Flowers.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Vice Chair Flowers.
That's all right.
Commissioner Engel is absent. Commissioner Nishimura,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner Mike,
Aye.
Commissioner Maknowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Duker,
Aye.
Chair Sheeler,
Aye.
motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Regular calendar items 7B, permit ready accessory dwelling units presentation.
Allison, you're on mute.
Hi there. Can you hear me now? I would like to introduce tonight to you our PRADU program, as we call it. It's Permit Ready Accessory Dwelling Units. And this is a program that's going to be released within the next couple weeks. I'm very excited to share this program with you. Permit Ready Accessory Dwellings, or the Permit or PRADU program, is a way to get accessory dwelling units, which formerly are called second units, granny flats, in-law suites is what we used to call them, but now they have this term ADU. They're a great way for families to build more living space on their property and bring family into another living unit. As I say, that brings your family close, but not too close. ADUs are, as you know, they can be attached to the main house, they can be separate, they can be converted from an existing building. But whatever they are independent living structures, meaning they have sanitation and cooking facilities in them. These are very popular, with a lot of requests for them. They're a way to meet some housing needs and housing goals throughout the state, as you don't have to acquire the land to build the unit. So people are adding these to their properties. So through this program, we will provide plans and construction drawings for these units to be placed on a property to save the owners from that first hard step, which is, I want to put one on the property, but I don't know how to design it. I don't know an architect, I don't know a designer. So if these programs or these plans that we have work, then they can use our construction ready plans free of charge. So we selected an engineer who designed the 3 models that we have, and we have plan reviewed their construction drawings. We've pre-approved them. And so if selected, the homeowner would tell us what design they want. They do have to pay for their construction permit, and they're able to start construction. So saving lots of time and money in the process. This program was devised through LEAP funding. So speaking of the many grants that we get, this is another grant award that we received. So this is totally funded through the state grant LEAP award. And as I mentioned, we have 3 different models that the community can choose from: 499 square feet, 599 square feet, 749 square feet. Which is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. These are all detached units, standalone structures. The 749, so each of these units qualify for several of the state exemptions for development impact fees are typically paid when you build a residence. The state, as you recall, in 2017, put out some regulations saying that if someone builds an ADU, if it's under 750 square feet, then many of those impact fees that are typically paid with construction are waived. So utilizing one of these plans will avoid some impact fees. If you get over 749 square feet, then you will also pay impact fees. The models we have a variety of roof lines and exterior finishes. Ends up providing about 18 different design models if you figure in the reverse floor plans and the different material finishes. The units are also designed with wider doorways and access points to provide should someone need some accessibility methods in the home. Here's a sneak peek at some of the designs, architectural drawings. This is the small 499 square foot model. That will come in a variety of different finishes, as I said. This is just one of them. This is the other one has a more conventional house look to it. And then the larger 2-1 floor plan. We should be rolling these plans out for public use within the next 2-3 weeks. They're in final review with the building department. We will be having a pretty large media campaign announcing the program. We have, there's been an article in the newspaper, and we've done a few releases to generate interest. Although the plans are not ready to be used yet. As I mentioned, they will be soon. And then this summer, we will be hosting a pretty large webinar, bringing lots of parties together and inviting the public to attend the webinar to learn more about not only the PRADU program, but ADUs in general, how they might solve some of their housing needs that they have. So look forward to that this summer, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Commissioners, questions?
Question, as well as a comment. This is really cool. I love the cool designs, Allison. Thank you for doing this. I mentioned it to like countless people. I've seen some emails about it. But a quick question. I know when you're building, you have the plans and then you put it on a site map. Do you guys offer that service of actually putting the plans on a site map? Or is that something that the builder would have to do?
Yes, so the property owner will be responsible at this point for providing a site plan. So that's something they can prepare themselves. They can have their contractor prepare it. They can hire an engineer to do it. But they would need to prepare a site plan to show how the model is going to fit on their property, meeting all the typical requirements.
Got it. Thank you.
I also have a question.
Sure.
Allison, thank you again. I'm really excited about this program. I think it's fabulous, and I think it'll be an amazing service for the city. You had mentioned in your presentation that it has been fully funded. I was just curious, what part of the program has been funded and by whom?
So it was through the LEAP, which is the Local Early Action Planning Grant. It's a state grant that we received, and the funds paid for the design of the plans.
Will there be any additional expected funding for the program as it moves along that you're aware of at this point?
There may be more funding come later, might be in the promotion. So our goal is to create lots of videos that we can share with the public on not only this particular program, but as I said, doing an ADU itself to try to answer a lot of questions to see if it will work for the site. So there will be some additional funding coming to help with that promotion side of it. If we continue to seek for funding, one of our thoughts is, as Commissioner Paul talked about the site plans, we would like to offer that service if funding becomes available where we could have the site plan prepared, but that's a goal at this point.
Wonderful. That was a curiosity. And then the other part is how much variance will you be allowing on each one of these models?
So the models will be to use the pre-approved plans. They need to stick with the design as presented. If people need to do a change, they are best to move forward with these plans as is and then come back for a second permit to do revisions. But they have energy calculations provided with them. So when you start changing a lot of materials and layouts, it will require the plans to be recalculated for energy. So we would like to avoid the homeowner having that cost if these plans as is will work for their site.
So do the plans also outline any type of budgetary program with it? I would assume that there's some budget based on what you've chosen.
There is not. That will be something, we'll provide guidance to them so they can prepare their budget and send them some sources where they can kind of outline it and decide how they're going to fund it. But it won't come with these particular plans.
Great. And I think that's all the questions and these are, you did mention these are standalone units, correct? These aren't something if someone wanted to convert a garage or an existing addition on the house, this would not apply.
Correct, yeah. Because of each home or each conversion would be so different, you couldn't have a standard plan. So these would be standalone, which is probably the most common that we do, but they would be a standalone unit.
Great, wonderful. Thank you, I'm excited about it. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Allison, a couple questions, one question, one comment. That obviously you all are very smart, and I guess in terms of quote citing one of these on a piece of property, and the city potentially doing that for a potential owner, obviously the underground utilities is going to be a challenge and a potential risk for the city to be citing it, because you just never know what you're going to sort of run into. There's obviously a lot of on-site inspection that needs to be done in terms of sewage and that kind, especially sewage and whatever else. So I guess always crank that in there. And I've lost my other comment. No, I think it's interesting. I guess the other thing was that in terms of, I'll say, selling it or presenting it to Citrus Heights, I would urge you to try to include the message that this is a sort of a state mandated program, and try to talk about the benefits to the community in terms of providing low income housing and for people that can't get in and can't afford to rent and whatever else. But I would say probably not to emphasize that it's not a unilateral decision by Citrus Heights to do this. Basically, this is a state program that's being implemented across the state, and so because I think there's going to get some pushback from people that seeing these things potentially being put on their adjacent neighbor's property. That's it.
Thank you. Look forward to sharing the full sets of plans, and look for the website in a couple weeks where you can see the plans in more detail.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Planning manager items, we have none at this time.
One more comment from the chair. Commissioners Turner, Mike, Nishimura, and Meknowski and I all were on a Zoom meeting for Planning Commissioner Academy here at the end of March, early April. As Mike Lagomarsino talked about, it's always good. The second time I've done this, Commissioners Engel and Flowers and I went down to Long Beach for a very memorable stay on the, what was it?
Queen Mary.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
memorable.
God. Don't ever stay in the Queen Mary. Oh my Lord. Anyways, so we did learn all kinds of interesting things, heard a lot of interesting discussion. As usual, as I experienced down in Long Beach, heard the gentleman that presents all the stuff about the legislation. He's typical of any sort of organization lobbyist. He just cranks that stuff off. It's just frankly blinding what he does. But it also, I think all the commissioner would appreciate what staff has to stay on top of in terms of all these regulations, policies, and upcoming legislation. There is a lot to track, and it's constantly changing. So kudos again to the staff, and that's all for me. With nothing else, I guess we will adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night.
For all your patience, have a good evening.